Thank you so much. We go. Carrie just taught me a new trick. Thank you, Carrie. And thank you, first of all, for your time today.
My pleasure.
A beautiful, sunny behind you, Portugal. God bless.
Yes, it's a beautiful day. I don't know if you can see it out there, but
I can
blue
see
skies. It's lovely. Yeah, and where are you?
I am in Santa Barbara in California.
Ah, lovely. Well, it must be beautiful there as well.
It's so beautiful, actually, that I had to move the usual spot from my armchair to here because the sun was shining so bright. And I think this is good. First of all, Carrie, thank you so much for your time today. And I tell you why I wanted to connect with you. I came across you actually several months ago, first time I saw you. And I listened to your interview with Charlie. And then somehow I think it like drifted away. And lately you started to show up on my site on YouTube. So I was clicking on the interviews, and in a way I feel this is the time to connect because I felt our frequencies in a way merge to this place. So the main thing to contact you, I would say very honestly, is your really, really big experience in working with this self-help, life coaching, spiritual teachings environment, which I think is completely transformed. If not, I would almost say irrelevant in many, many cases. And I know you are the person I definitely want to have this conversation with, plus many other topics, of course.
Yeah.
So welcome, Carrie. Thank you so much for being here. Is there anything you want to say about yourself? Because I don't know everything, clearly.
I have enough stories to fill many volumes. So as many of us do, thank you for inviting me. And I look forward to our conversation because I think that I like honest spiritual conversations where, you know, I came out of the spiritual closet many years ago. I was kind of forced out of the spiritual closet. And you know, at first it was very painful. I was called nuts. I was called crazy, you know, you name it, everything under the sun. I was shamed publicly and shamed within the family. I had family members disown me. And I think most of us have had that experience. And I would like to share words of encouragement that keep on going, you know, keep on walking that path, because in the end, it all works out, always.
So let me
there
ask
we are.
you.
We're done.
That's it, right? Goodbye, everyone.
That's it.
Go on, just go on. Go on. Keep on
go
living.
on. Do what you're doing.
That's right. Keep on living, and as you stumble and fall, you get up and you keep going again.
That's right. An old Japanese proverb, you know, fall down 7 times, get up 8. Right?
That's right.
Yes. Yeah.
I love Japanese.
Yeah. I used to work with the Japanese, actually. In one of my many careers, I worked a lot in the film industry, and one of my many careers for about a decade was coordinating Japanese commercials across Canada.
Oh, wow.
And so I had the privilege of learning so much about the Japanese and Asian cultures. And you know, it's so eye-opening. I love different cultures. I love different languages. And I think that's where we're moving to, is the love of diversity. And, you know, and instead of fearing the Russians or the Chinese, or, you know, I mean, we grew up with so many different, the Muslims more recently, you know, being villainized. And when you actually get to break bread, boy, that's saying that 10 times fast. When you get to break bread with people of different cultures than your own, you get to know them on a whole different level. And that's what we need to do in this planet. That's where we need to be, is the openness of realizing that we are all the same. We are, you know, one in the same. You know, when we all cut ourselves, it's the old saying, but we all bleed blood the same way. And so I think that is our mission here on the planet. So many of my clients come to me and say, what is my life purpose? To love thyself. Love thyself, love thyself, love thyself, and to love your neighbor and to love all those that are around you. You know, I don't think, I think your life purpose emerges after you get into that state of self-love, the deep state of self-love. That's when you can open up to, you know, okay, what's my next step? But it has to.
Or, Carrie,
Yes.
or you find your life, actually, or you find your self-love through discovering your life purpose.
Yeah, I think it really starts with self. You know, again, I've been facilitating workshops for about 30 years. My ex-partner was Tony Robbins, you know, and so.
And this is what I want to start, actually, because this is very important part.
Well, I became Tony's partner by default through marriage. I met my first husband in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, and he was Tony's business partner. So when I married my first husband, I just automatically became business partners with Tony. But I worked heavily within the company. I did all of the coordination behind the scenes. I was not necessarily the one on stage. My former husband was. He was really the public speaker along with Tony. And through time, I would take the stage and I would sweat it out, and you know, it was not my forte as such. But it gave me, you know, it introduced the muscle of speaking publicly. Never did I think that I would be doing it as a living in the end. But working with Tony and working with my former husband was such a blessing. And they taught me so much in building that muscle and helping so many people in the end. So that was kind of my introduction to the motivational world. And I must say that I was really disappointed in 2020, where pretty much all the motivational speakers just disappeared. We didn't see many of them, you know, and that was a time where we really needed to hear from a lot of the motivational speakers, and we didn't see or hear from them. But now they're starting to come out. This last 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they're really starting to come out again and promoting their workshops. So I think that, you know, if anything that we can learn in the last year is that the motivation comes from within. It's not through another person. It's not through the motivational speakers doing the rah, rah, rah. You know, it is through, it's through, you know, meditation and finding that internal connection with spirit. The motivational speakers are wonderful. They can assist you, but really it all starts with self. And I think self-love, you know, love thyself, love thyself, love thyself. That's what I always heard, you know, when I was really struggling way back when, was spirit kept whispering in my ear, love thyself, love thyself, love thyself, love thyself. And that message has stayed with me all these years. And it was actually a big part of my book, right? Was, you know, I think it's a profound message, because once you love yourself, once you look in the mirror and you can feel really satisfied with the reflection that is bouncing back at you, and you can actually look in your own eyes and go, wow, I just love this person. I really am enjoying life. I'm really feeling such a deep level of gratitude. When you're at that state, that's when you're invincible, and kind of invisible as well to any negative energies. It's like you're off the radar for negative entities or energies, and this is where you can propel and move forward.
Yes. So thank you so much, Carrie. It's really beautiful and very important for the listeners. Very important reminder, but I want to surprise you with something.
Okay.
Because if there is a person who will really get this, it's you. And I tell you why. In my book, chapter 27 is called Unleashed.
Oh, lovely.
So listen to this. This is very quick.
Okay.
Make a move. Say yes, he shouts, and 6,000 heads echo back. Make a move. Say yes, he repeats, and her energized eyes can't pull away from his face. There is the master of his body. There is the captain of his mind. If she could only tap into his power, maybe then she could awaken her own giant from inside. So this was the reason why I contacted you. I have a whole chapter dedicated to Tony Robbins. I went to
the
his
giant within.
Unleash the Power Within. I walked the fire. I wasn't crazy about his work early on my spiritual journey, but it came to the point when I needed that shake.
Yes.
Because what he did to people, he shook them. So it was in a way drastic. He broke he used to break the repetition of the same.
Yes. Repetition is the mother of skill. Yes.
So now I was thinking about this, and I'm so glad, Carrie, like literally you tap into my mind when you were saying what you were saying. Exactly what you said. Last year, I remember precisely, we are in April, because March was like still like confusing. So I'm in April, May. For many, many years, I've done many spiritual work. Abraham Hicks, Tony Robbins, so many people, like so many, it's not enough time to mention, okay? Spent thousands and thousands of dollars on all those workshops, books, seeking. Nothing wrong with this. To again come to the conclusion, we are in 2020, we are in May,
yes.
And the only person that I actually saw was doing something was Gary Vee, who was empowering people to start their own business on social media, whatever it is. And I'm like, this is the only guy, like Gary Vee is the only man who's actually doing something with real people, like real people.
Yeah, I think there's quite a few that are doing things, but you know, even Gary Vee, it's really marketing the same kind of message that they've been marketing for many years. And
Yes.
like you say, we spend thousands and thousands of dollars on these people. And the message that I want to portray to everyone is that, yes, they're wonderful to motivate you, but you can actually do the motivation within through meditation, through prayer, through you know, lucid dreaming. Set the intention when you go to sleep that you're going to have a conversation with Creator when you wake up, you know, in that lucid dream state where you're just waking up and you're kind of asleep and you're conscious, but you're also very much open to your, you know, your spirit guides or Creator, God, Buddha, Allah, whoever it is for you, right? So I want to encourage people to move beyond what was really big in the 90s and early 2000s. If we've learned anything through 2020 is that the power lies within. It isn't outside of ourselves.
But Carrie, this is exactly what I wanted to say.
Yes.
When I started this about last year. So I wanted to go a little bit further with this, because as with everything, there was a huge gift of what was taking place. And specifically, if we just talk about the life coaching or spiritual coaches, the biggest gift they gave us, Carrie, was that they actually haven't done much and they show their true colors on social media doing certain posts. So that encouraged people, in my opinion, this is my perception, to say, okay, you cannot seek outside anymore, because many people were not ready for this. They were looking for this crutch to lean on.
Yes,
and
an
now, like
expensive
you said,
crush.
Yes.
Right. So God bless Tony Robbins. I mean, he certainly changed my life. When I think back, I mean, I had just come out of my abortion and I was quite a mess. And he gave me the motivation to go into acting. I mean, I was a janitor on the British Columbia ferry system, and I was cleaning toilets for a living. And I did Tony Robbins, you know, what was it, 90-day program or whatever it was. It was a
Yes.
It was his. It was on a cassette. You know?
Yes.
Yeah, you remember the one, right?
I haven't done it. No, but I remember like infomercials and all of this. I remember that.
Yeah. Forgive me. It was like 1988. It was a long time ago. And I remember watching it at like 11 o'clock at night and thinking, okay, I'm going to buy that. Well, it was the best selling program that was out there ever. You know, he sold more programs. And that program changed my life. It got me to move to Vancouver. I ended up being on MacGyver, 21 Jump Street, all of those shows in the early 1990s. And I met my former husband, who then introduced me to Tony. And then
You see?
the rest is history. Right? So it all kind of came together. And I knew, funny enough, when I was doing that program of Tony's in 1998, I knew that I would meet Tony eventually and perhaps end up working with him. I just knew it. And sure enough, there we were. But those programs were really great in the 80s, the 90s. But what I'm finding now is that the message is go within instead of without.
100%.
Right?
Yes.
And it is time that we started to dance and we started to move and started to, get in the rhythm of the vibration and did more communal projects together. Whether living off the land or having food that is communal, living that is communal. This is, I think, the way that we're going to be moving into our next stage. There is a fine line I found with a lot of the gurus and cults, right? Because some people would just give up their power.
It's a form of addiction, Carrie, and used to be for many people a form of addiction. And when the certain adrenaline dropped down, the chemicals has changed within, and there was not enough muscle, like you said, muscle built.
That's right.
In order to go on.
That's right. That's why majority of my clients, I think majority, I've not done any more than 3 sessions with any client, because once I've done all the work, it's like, okay, now you're free. It's like a bird, mama bird, and kind of going, okay, off you go. Now it's time to fly. Because the last thing we want is any kind of addictions, any kind of guru status. It's like, no, I'm here as a helper. I'll help you. I'll help you get through all of that stuff that you've been carrying like a lead balloon for how many decades. We'll release that. Once we've let that go, then you're free to fly. And I think that's where we're moving into with motivational speakers, is that it's like a one-stop shop for, okay, let's get down to business. Let's help you. And now off you go. It's time to fly.
Yes, I love it. I love this, Carrie. I love this so much. And it's so much more flow of energy in that and movement in this. And in such a beautiful, unpredictable way, but yet trusting way. Because this goal settings, in a way, it's good for the brain. It sets the direction. But there is a trap of not being on the right path, which is not the case, because our soul is still on this journey and is evolving. And I mean, it's really all well. It's all well.
Yeah. I remember Deepak Chopra, he was quoted as saying, I wish my followers would think more for themselves. And a lot of people were clucking their tongues at him saying that. And this is probably about a decade ago. And a lot of people were like, oh, how could he say such a thing? But I could understand how when you share information, some people just want to come and grab on, and they want to stay holding on. And I think what he was saying was, I wish more people would come, accept what is being given, integrate it, and then move on and think for, free thinking, right? But at the same time, you also create what you are experiencing in your life.
Right.
So if you set it up that you are the guru and know all, then that's what you're going to be attracting into your world. So again, it's like a dance. As a person that has full communication with spirit, I can channel, I can see, I can feel, I can hear, like many of us, right?
Yes.
And so being able to just share that with people, I think is a huge duty for a lot of us. For years, I kept hearing, just give it away, give it away, give it away. And that's why my website, I have free videos on there. And this stuff that I could have charged a lot of money for, it's like, no, just give it away, give it away, give it away. The most richest place on this planet is a graveyard, because all those beautiful billion-dollar ideas or all those
they're buried there.
They're buried there, right? And we don't want the beautiful wisdom that has come through to be buried, without, because
Carrie,
can
I share something with you?
Please.
So I have to tell you, I am so grateful to the universe and divine for being in a place when I really have zero interest in any coach, any spiritual teacher. And I tell you why, because truly for me, and I know I can feel it, I can not just hear it, I can feel it from you. There is this beautiful self-empowerment that you find within. And what is beautiful for me is when you live your life and then you stumble upon average, which are really special, very special human beings, somewhere on the road, somewhere on the airport, in the cafe, and they are the wisest, beautiful souls. They just cross your life path.
Yes.
And they teach you something, leaves like an imprint on your soul. I have goosebumps now when I'm saying, and I'm like,
yes,
those are like true teachers, true angels. They show up without any programs and stuff. And I'm not saying that I really appreciate Tony's work, just going
very
back
much.
briefly.
Yeah.
But I cannot honestly, even when you say like Deepak Chopra, I'll be honest with you, I cannot hear even the names anymore. I am so over it at this point that I'm like just nature, trees, Carrie, maybe talking to people like yourself and just live life.
Well, I think it's more conversations now, isn't it? And people listening to conversations and then picking up what it's like going to a grocery store and going, I'll take that, thank you, and I'll accept this, please, and I'd like that, please, and putting it into the cart, your shopping cart of life. And when I think of Tony, he was brilliant in what he did. He took Bandler and Grinder's work, right? They were two psychologists or psychiatrists that developed NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And they had a series of books like Transformation and Frogs into Princesses. And, there was 4 of them. In fact, I have them around here somewhere. At any rate, Bandler and Grinder were brilliant, but they were analytical and they put everything in such psychological terms. Tony came along and partnered with them, but he took that information and he put it in layman terms that you and I and the rest of the world could really understand. And then, of course, his deep voice and dynamic personality, he was able to deliver it in a way that didn't put people to sleep. It actually energized them and motivated them. And when you're first starting off, that is a wonderful place to be. That's like, woohoo, you're switched on. But now after 2020, I think a lot of those that are awake, especially, we have gone through the years of paying tens of thousands of dollars for workshops and motivational speakers. And now it's more podcasts and it's, information networks and conversations with creator ourselves, right? Just sitting in a place. It's not to say that workshops aren't good. In fact, I offer a lot of workshops and they're wonderful. It's just, don't get addicted to them.
That's right, Carrie. That's right. And isn't it so true that we hear the most in silence?
Oh, very much. Have you done a silent retreat? Have you ever done a silent retreat? They're beautiful, aren't they? Yeah.
But I love just by myself being in silence, or actually the sound of nature, the sound of wind going through the trees. It's one of my favorite sounds, actually. I love wind.
Yes.
I love sound of the wind, Carrie, okay.
Yes.
What is so significant for you, and this is another thing that I feel strong connection with you about number 22?
Yes, well, first of all, I was born on the 22nd, and it is 11/11. I had that epiphany back July 3rd, 1993. I speak about it in my book. I literally had an angel show up and she said, it's time to get home. You have to get home tonight. You have to get home. And there was such an urgency. So I went back to my house. It was a hippy dippy house, anywhere between 11 and 22 of us lived in this house on any given time. And it was downtown, well, not downtown, in Kitsilano, Vancouver, which is kind of a beach community. It's beautiful. At any rate, I went home And there just happened to be this guy that showed up from California, Prageet Harris, and he had channeled this structure called the Stargate. And at the time, I was working by day on the set of MacGyver, and so I came home in the evening, and I ended up meditating with 11 people that came from all around the world around this Stargate structure. So we did this meditation. It was very similar to Close Encounters of a Third Kind, right? Where people just came from around the world. They were obsessed. They just knew that they had to get to Vancouver. Didn't know why, didn't know what was there, but many had conversations with Archangel Michael and just felt this calling. So we had people from Italy, from Greece, from Vancouver, from United States, from all over, and sat around this structure in my backyard, in a house that we had in the backyard for workshops. And in that, there were so many epiphanies. And the first thing was, oh my goodness, I've been seeing 1111 at that time for about a year. You know, it started off as 1010, and then it went to 1111, then 1212 eventually. But and 222, 333, all those, right? So they were power numbers in numerology, 11, 22, 33. So during those sessions around the Stargate, we started to have, you know, experiences where Alcazar, who was a beautiful ascended master, would start to speak with us. I channeled him ever since 1993, actually. And the 22, I realized, was far greater than just my birthday. It goes back to, you know, you look at Roman architecture, you know, you have the 1111, you know, the two columns before every entrance. It's in hieroglyphics. It's, you know, it goes back, and I believe it's an internal wake-up call. It is our celestial wake-up call. And so for me, that was 1993. But it's still going on today. So many people are experiencing, for maybe the last couple of years, 1111, you know, 222.
Definitely.
Yeah. And
but Carrie,
call.
Can I ask you, did you ever came across, there is a book I read a while back on the plane that speaks, because it's not just those numbers like 11, 11, 20, 20, 22, 33. Even if it's like, let's say 41 or 47, there is a message from angelic realm, and it's so fascinating. But then again, I think it's very individual for all of us how we receive it. It's not just one message.
You know, I thought it was my angels were there speaking to me. And then, of course, at that time, I would see pennies on the ground. And then when there was a penny shortage, copper shortage, then it was dimes. And then it was white feathers. You know, it just was a series of different things that I would see on the ground. And I knew that my spirit guides were with me. But the 1111 22 is something very different. It is a celestial wake-up call. And it is igniting that spark within that brings you to a whole new level of consciousness. That's where, you know, you get the ringing in the ears or the coolness in your ears, where you feel like you're almost being lifted up by the inside of your ears, where spirit is lifting you up. That's where you start waking up anywhere between, you know, 1:11 in the morning and 5:55 a.m. And, you know, I've spoken about this many times, but we're on the third, you know, dimension. The fourth dimension is like a white noise, and then the fifth dimension is where angelic realm can come and speak to you. So that fourth dimension, it's like a thicker soup, and it's harder for spirit to get through to speak to you during the day, because everyone's thoughts.
Yes, correct. You're so right. You're so right.
Yes,
the thought forms, and actually they are bombarding still.
Yes.
With frequencies from the devices, from out of space and from underground. So it's not just like TV, but it's so true, so true.
But it's also thought pollution from us, you know, because every thought has an energetic wave, right? It has a thought form. And so that wave energy goes out of us, and it's infinite. It goes on forever through other galaxies, to other dimensions. And the only way to change, especially negative thoughts, is to consciously call those negative thoughts back and bring them, like I like to see me wrapping them up like a piece of paper and throwing them into the cosmic garbage can. You know, I can actually take back a negative thought. In the old days, in the 90s, we used to say, cancel, cancel, don't want that, cancel, cancel. Do you remember that? You know, you'd have a negative thought and you go, oh, cancel, cancel. Well, it's kind of the same thing where you go, you know, that is not a serving thought. I'm going to crumple that up, throw it in the cosmic garbage can, because Creator cleans up that garbage and transforms it, transmutes it into something beautiful, right? And instead, we replace it with positive, beautiful thought. And that's our duty.
But you know, can I ask you what you think of this?
Okay.
When this happens to me, when I have this thought that is on the low frequency, I ask myself now, because I know exactly what you're talking about, Carrie. This was like Abraham Hicks teachings for me, which was still they are special for me.
Fair.
But I do this. I ask myself, what is the opposite of this thought? So there is some fear behind it. So if I'm thinking something that is not on the higher frequency, or is disempowering or making me sad, first I ask myself, what do I really want? Why am I thinking like this? Because there is a root somewhere, a cause of that thought.
That's right.
And then it's almost like I do this, like I kind of walk myself in my mind quickly to the point where I transform that thought into, like I loosen up the energy of it, if this makes sense.
Yes.
I loosen it up, and then it's like I don't throw it, I just kind of dissolve it in a way.
Yes. Yeah, whatever way you choose to transform or transmute it, right?
Yes.
Energy can't be destroyed, it can only be transformed or transmuted. So whatever way works for you is brilliant. Abraham Hicks, Esther Hicks is just, I love it. I love Esther, you know, and you know, the words of wisdom that come from her, and there's so many, like Muji. I love Muji as well. He's here in Portugal with us, not very far. He's about an hour away. And the same kind of principle that he speaks of, and that is, you know, it's all about thoughts. So he did an exercise. I went to a 4-day event with Muji, and it was followed by a silent retreat center. So that's why I was asking, have you done a silent retreat center?
Because this is the Mount Saja, right? The name?
Muji. Yeah, Muji.
Yes, and that's
Saja. Yeah.
Right. Oh, that's close to you, Carrie. I didn't know.
Yeah, very close. Yeah, and so when I went to the event with Muji, he stayed on one question for 3 days, and it was such a profound question that it took 3 days for the masses. I mean, it was about 1,000 people there, and for everyone to really understand it. And it was wonderful just witnessing.
What was the question, Carrie?
The question, well, it was more a visualization where he brought us into a door, like there was a doorway in front. And imagine that you, your body, your essence, your thoughts, everything is standing at that door. And this is a door of consciousness. It can be, for instance, in our Aboriginal belief, it would be like the black void where all illusion begins. So you're going to walk into the black void where you leave everything behind. You leave your body behind, you leave your thoughts, you leave your hair, you leave your clothes, you leave your house, you know, your children, your pets, you name it. Everything is left behind. And the only thing that you bring into this room is your consciousness. And so what does that feel like? What does it feel like? What does it look like? And so people were still seeing themselves, like their legs, their arms in the room. And it was like, no, that's your body. You have to leave your body outside of the room. You know, so what is in that room? It is your consciousness. Okay, so what is consciousness?
I love this, Carrie. I love this. Oh, this is so good.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
This is purifying to the highest.
Yes. So it really breaks down, not even breaks down, it opens up many minds to the fact that we aren't our bodies, we aren't our houses, we aren't our children, we aren't our pets, we aren't our nails being done, you know, or whatever it may be, right? We are spirits, we are souls having a human experience. And so if we come into that essence of who we truly are, then what is possible? And so that's when you start to step into, okay, so now I know and I love who I am. I can feel that essence inside. I can feel that spirit inside. Now that I know who I am, what is it that I want to do on this planet? So that when I come to the end of my time and I look back, I will feel the greatest success, the greatest accomplishment, no regrets, that I will go, oh my goodness, I lived my life to the fullest, no regrets. And so that, I think, if anything we've learned in 2020, this is what we need to move forward to. Moving forward is not being dependent or addicted to anything, anyone, any place, letting it all be left at the door.
Beautiful. So thank you so much for sharing this. This is really, really special. Really special. I love this. I feel like now I actually want to do this.
Yeah. It's a great experiment, I want to say. I believe that all of this is an experiment, that we are living within a greater experiment, an experiment to see when and how the collective can come to a place of accepting and embracing and living in an utter state of love for thyself and love for thy neighbors, right? And so we will make it there. It's without a doubt. It's just how and when. Doesn't even have to be a why, right? Just how and when.
Yes.
Because the why will reveal itself when we are there. With ease and grace.
Yes. Carrie, I have 3 more questions, and one was just born from what you just said.
Great. I love you. I tell you, I just think that I love how spontaneous you are and how you just speak from your heart. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you. You know what? I want to remain like this and even more and more. Because in my life, especially because of my work experience, I used to work in places that like high-end retail stores for all those luxury fashion brands that, you know, it's very demanding, and it's a certain type of work. You have to please the clients.
Yes.
And then it's like part of you, like I became really good at it, but it was like you were in a way putting yourself in an acting mode. Like you were honest, but still there was a part of you acting, you know? But that's not about me, Carrie. So what I want to ask you now is this. You had very, very special experience in your life. One of your boyfriends who you loved dearly was an extraterrestrial. So my question is, what that relationship has taught you?
Well, first of all, forgive me. I started to choke. I swallowed the wrong way. No, I swallowed the wrong way. And all of a sudden I started to choke, and I thought, okay, choking is a great lesson in life, because it's what is it that you're not willing to swallow? And I realized, right? What is it that you're rejecting, that you're not wanting to swallow? And it just was an overwhelming, as soon as you started to talk about the retail market, I just, oh my goodness, I used to work in retail as well. And the thought of working with the elites and high-end retail, and the customer's always right, and you are a peon, and you know there is these
numbers.
Yes, and you're just a cog in the wheel, and there was not much appreciation for all the work, the good work that you did.
Yeah,
that made me choke.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good. No, it's something that I realized that, wow, I've not dealt with that. That is something that I need to actually heal from the past. There was something in there for me. So thank you for that. Okay, so going into my former, yeah, that was a shocker. And how is that coming out of a spiritual closet, man?
Mm.
Yeah, it was very difficult at first to speak about it. I only spoke about it with my family initially, and they knew him, of course, and so everyone was open to the concept because there were traits that were there that were very different and very unique. Driving ability was terrible. Couldn't drive worth it. Oh yeah, he couldn't drive worth a darn. And we used to kind of laugh about that, but he wasn't a very good driver. So, and I know if he ever listens to this, he'll be the first one to go, I was a great driver. But he really wasn't, or I am a great driver. Anyways, so I had a relationship with a really beautiful person for, I can't even remember if it was a year or 2 years, to tell you the truth. I've kind of put it out of my mind, but he shifted on me a couple of times, like 3 times specifically in our relationship, where he would, like sharp angles would show up along his forehead and then in the bridge of his nose, and his eyes became reptilian. And I remember thinking, oh my God, the first time it happened, I was like, oh my God, did I just see it? No, I didn't see that. No, there's no way. Oh, Carrie, have another drink. And I wasn't a big drinker by then, but it was that kind of joke with myself, like, oh, geez, I'm really losing it. And then I saw it again. And then the third time was towards the end of the relationship. And I thought, okay, there is something here. So that's when I went.
Did you ever ask him, Carrie? Did you ask him, like, who are you?
No, I was kind of scared a little bit. I thought, maybe it's just me, maybe, and if he is someone or something else, I mean, he won't go, oh yeah, I'm so-and-so, he'll probably just turn it back on me. So that's when I started to research, and I went online and I started to look, are there actual ETs living amongst us? And this is going back a long ways, where it wasn't a concept that was out there by any means. And certainly lizard people, I'd never heard of them at all. I mean, David Icke has been talking about them for a long time. I've only known of David Icke for maybe 10 years, maybe, right? So I don't know. It's been, it's been about 10 years that I've heard about David. But prior to that, I had never heard of lizard people. So sure enough, I went online and I searched, and there was, some reporters that had shifted online and shown themselves to be lizard people. So that's how I found David Icke. And so anyways, in doing all of that, I went, I was like, wow, okay, so maybe I'm not so crazy. So I just left it. We didn't talk for a very long time. And then I had some experiences with ETs again. I've had them pretty much all my life, where abductions, where woke up bruised. In fact, even just the other day, woke up with some bruises on my arm, and my nose there was something.
Carrie, one second, Carrie. Those are the benevolent ones? No.
Those are what?
Benevolent? No.
Oh yes, very much. Yeah, my ETs are benevolent.
Well, why you're bruised if it's benevolent?
You can just feel that they're not sinister. They're not, they're not harmful by any means. I wouldn't allow it.
Bruising is not a bad sign? Bruising is not bad?
Okay, so this is where I had this big thing for a long time. I had to actually think about this and go, well, why am I bruised if they're good, right? And then I had to think, well, actually, I didn't even have to think. It was like a download. And I saw how humans treat animals. We love the animals. We want to take care of them. We tag them. We sedate them. We put them out in the wild. Once we do some experiments, we draw blood. We do whatever it is that we need to do. But sometimes we'll hold them down, right? And heaven forbid, they might get bruised, they might get cut, whatever they, you know, whatever it may be, but we're doing something with the mindset that it's going to be good in the end. So what I saw was that, yeah, they were holding me down. They wipe your mind so you don't remember the pain. So I think on some level they're thinking, oh well, they won't remember anyways. It's all right, but it's not kind, right? And so.
But it's going so well, Carrie.
Yeah.
What if you don't want it? What you like? No. Please don't come tonight.
Yeah. So if I don't want it, I won't participate, right? Okay, so let me fill in some blanks here for you, okay? Because the gentleman that I dated, when I woke up with some bruises, he ended up saying to me, oh, you're not supposed to have any bruises. I'm so sorry, that's never supposed to happen. And I went, okay, well, I ended up with bruises, so did a couple of family members, that all in the same evening, we all woke up with bruises. And one was across the city, right? One was not even with us at the time. Phoned me up and said, oh my gosh, I'm waking up with all these bruises. Sorry. So anyways, yeah, so you're not supposed to wake up with bruises. It's not supposed to happen. So he then shared a lot with me that I signed a contract before I came here. And I said, well, is it for just a couple of years? And he said, no, this is a lifetime contract. You're actually allowing other nations to see through you, to feel through you, and you know, to actually extract DNA or eggs or whatever it may be. But we're able to do all this, and you gave us a contractual agreement before you came here. So, and I really believe that there are, like humans, good humans, bad humans, good lizards, bad lizards, right? And I think that he very much was a good lizard. I think he is still involved with some that we would consider not so nice lizards, right? But yeah, but in the end, I think that he was in the right place, right time, because he protected me, he took care of me, and he made sure that we were never bruised again. Although the other day I did wake up and I did have some bruises, and my husband actually pointed them out. He goes, look at that, you got a couple of bruises on your arms again. And so, you know I've had activity as of late. We're starting to come into a whole new threshold, and I think that for instance, when I got bruised badly, I was downloaded with stuff that I needed at that time, because you fast forward 6 months, I ended up at the end of the Mayan calendar, and I ended up owning a house in Banff, Alberta, and that house was the vortex, was the place where another portal would have opened up for an alien nation to come through. But I had been given all these downloads 6 months prior, and which allowed me to throw energy. I can play with electronics. I can zap them. I can, turn out light bulbs. I can flatten tires. I've done all kinds of things accidentally, just through rage, like being upset, throw energy.
You're tuned to their frequency. You're tuned.
Oh yeah.
Like you have a different frequency that's actually on the,
yeah, it's a different vibration. And so I think a lot of us on this planet have this, right? And that's why so many of us have been able to see what's been coming long before it came. In 2016, I successfully predicted, well, not even success, that's ego. I had a dream. I woke up and it was the most interesting dream. I woke up and I saw 2020 happening. In that dream, I saw gas masks and everyone, the whole planet wearing masks. I saw hazmat suits and bio warfare. I saw the whole world shutting down, every business, and it was a new world order, right? I probably shouldn't have said that word, but forgive me. But I saw all of that. And what was really interesting was that I woke up and I wrote my girls. I was here in Portugal at the time, or maybe I was in Europe, and in England. So anyways, I bought online gas masks. Like I'm talking with a big double,
Wow, you really,
masks.
okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, in 2016 I did this. So I bought these big masks, I bought hazmat suits for them, and I shipped them off to Canada where my children were, and I wrote them a note with it and said, girls, please, I know that this sounds crazy and you're used to me by now, but this is a dream I had, and I think that is going to come, and you're going to need these in time. So make sure you keep them aside. And so, all of these things, it's a higher vibration. And I think so many of us around the planet have this. We have the ability to tune into what is coming, and also to shift it and move it into a new direction. Yes.
I'm so happy to talk to you about it. I have to tell you this. And I know I interrupt because I'm so freaking passionate. Sometimes I cannot shut up.
It's all good. Me too.
And I'm like, people don't like, I'm sorry.
Excuse me. It's all good. So what's up?
Carrie, I tell you, through my life, I had always the psychic abilities. But lately, especially last year, I mean, I saw like 9/11 before it happened, but in a different way. I received a download in a dream so profound that I woke up with cold sweat. I never had this experience before in my life. I wrote in my book too, but the long story short is this. Last year, I was receiving really a lot of downloads about specific people like Diana, Princess Diana, Mr. T, all of this, okay? And it's coming and it's coming and it's coming. And now I said to myself, I have to use this. That's why I also wanted to have a conversation, because first time yesterday, I spoken on my Instagram about it, that I actually want to read people. I did like some free readings. I want to read it. I want to see how accurate it is, okay? Because you're testing your ability. So many people have this now. Something has opened up. Yes. This veil has lifted.
Yes, I agree. And that's what it's all about, right? So when you raise up your own vibration, you're opening a doorway, a portal to a new level of consciousness. And that's where telepathy can come in, and telekinesis, and, so many other gifts that are innate to us. This is who we truly are. But we have suppressed our abilities out of fear. I think it goes back to the church and state, right? The belief system that we can only connect through Creator, through a priest, or through, someone that is holy, and the middleman, right? But in fact, all of us have that ability. All of us. There is not one without it. We have a silver cord. It attaches us to the heavens. It attaches us to consciousness, to universal knowledge, to grandfather spirit, whatever label you want to put on pure light energy, creator.
Carrie, this is next title of your book, The Silver Cord.
Yes, actually, I did put it in. This is my book, The 5 Lessons of Life. And I actually just found out today it won the Reader's Choice Award, and this is a very big
Congratulations. This is amazing. Oh, this is good, Carrie.
Yeah, it's done really well. It's been 2 years on the market. I've never paid for advertising. It's self-published through my company. I have my own publishing company out of it now called Freedom Masters Publishing House. And for 2 years, it's been a #1 best-selling book, and it's been most wished for, most gifted. Yeah. So, but it's the message, right? It's really, I was saying to my daughter this morning, I read her the beautiful review that we got this morning, and it was from the Reader's Choice Awards. And it was so profound, so beautiful. And I said to her, when I was writing the book, I really struggled. I had a hard time writing because I was illiterate, #1. I wasn't a professional writer, but I had the story to tell. I wrote it and rewrote it for 5 years. Kept going on and on. And then I got so frustrated one day, I finally threw my hands up in the air and I said, oh Lord, please, dear Lord, you have to help me with this. You have to help me write it because I can't do this on my own. And I heard, okay, let's start over. Grab your pen and paper. And so I actually hand wrote this book. It came through pen and paper, and I literally wrote it out, because prior to that, I was trying to put it on the computer. I was trying to speak it in, and it just wasn't flowing. And once I sat down with that pen and paper, it was just a matter of, you know, a couple months maybe, and it was done. And
from the heart.
Yeah,
from the heart.
yeah, well, it was a profound message that really needs to be shared. And so that's why it's a grassroots movement of people sharing it with their friends, with their family, and with no advertising. So other than the odd podcast, right? So yeah, it's really been a blessing. It's a work that I'm proud of because well, first of all, it was a really difficult journey. and it was a journey that I probably wouldn't wish on my worst enemies, but yet I would, because in the end, what a blessing, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it really was
Carrie,
beautiful.
my last question is about your retreat in Portugal. Why you chose that place and how you envision this going forward.
Wow, that's so timely. And I'll tell you why, because we just had someone approach us to buy our retreat center. And yeah, and there was a point where I would think in the past, oh no, I'm not going to sell it. But I actually had a vision of another property, more inland, but is big. And I can see us expanding and going more inland. Right now, we're very close to the beaches. And why I chose this property, it chose us. It chose me. It is ideally located. It's just 22 miles from Greg Hallett's cave. And that's a whole nother story we can talk about another time. He is the, you know, the supposed heir to the throne.
Yeah, I'm aware of him, yes.
Yeah. So his cave, no one knew where it was. I was the first one to find it after Greg was there, you know, in 2014. So it's 22 miles, 22 kilometers in one direction. And then, you know, the Jesus's palace and cathedral is again 33 kilometers, and I think it's 11 kilometers in another direction. So we're smack dab in the middle of this triangle. And this triangle, I believe that we're a vortex. I believe that we are the center of those three key points. And it's served its purpose for me to be here, to find all that land. I love this land. And I think that maybe a new caretaker is going to come in, because I'm now feeling a calling to go more inland and bigger. We're looking at an older hotel actually, and perhaps you know, taking that over as communal living. Yes,
same kind of work, right? You're gonna continue like retreat.
Yeah. So a place where people can come and just be, and no gurus as such, but it would be like an artist retreat center. You don't have to be an artist, but you can paint, you can sing, you can dance, you can take different workshops that would be offered there, that people would come through and offer their workshops and bring in people. You know, it's just, I love the concept of communal living. I did it when I was in my 20s in the hippy dippy house back in Vancouver. And I really, that's my passion, is to bring community back together again. And without the materialistic world, without the restrictions, and more just freedom of discovering who you are and what's absolutely fabulous about you. And if you were to know your ideal self, like your ideal life, the person that you know, shines the most, if you were to actually discover her or him, what would they look like? What would they feel like? What would they be like? You know, the confidence, the joy, the joie de vivre, you know, that's bubbling up in their belly, the joy. And so
exactly, the true essence of our being.
Yes. And so I'd love to have a center for that. We have that now. I see us expanding is all.
That's so good. That's so good, Carrie.
Yeah.
It's really divine blessing over.
Very
I
much.
can feel it almost, you know, I can feel it from here.
Yes, yes, it's beautiful. And we have, you know, several people here at our retreat center now, and, you know, it's fun because you can hear the music playing and the
Mm,
laughter and the joy. And they came over last night, and some don't even speak English, and so we were using Google Translate, going back and forth and laughing, you know. And we discussed the book, and I signed some autographed copies for them. And then it turned out one of the girls had a near-death experience. She has a scar that's probably about a foot long on her leg, and she came very close to losing her life and amputating her leg. But
oh,
she was able to make it through. And it's those kinds of stories that I absolutely love when we gather here as a community, and everyone shares their gifts, their thoughts, their insights, what dreams they had, what abilities, you know. Get out the guitar, get out the shirty box, the you know, I mean, let's start
the
dancing and
exchange of
moving.
the energy, exactly.
Yes,
Exchange of
yes,
energy. It's so beautiful.
it's true.
Carrie,
Yeah.
I want to thank you for today so much, for your time, for
It-
sharing your life experience with us, and for your commitment to shining your light in the world.
oh, thank you.
It's beautiful. It's really beautiful. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
It's
I can say the same to
Carrie,
you.
can you
Yes.
tell me,
Yeah. I can say the same to you. I
can you
think
tell
you're
me,
absolutely beautiful. And thank you for doing all the good work that you're doing, because you're bringing different voices to different people around the world. And that's really what it's all about, is sharing this knowledge and this insights, right? Come on, everyone, let's wake up and let's start moving and dancing and singing and get that movement going. And, you know, is stop focusing on what's crappy in this world, and oh, woe is me, this is going on and that's going on, and I saw this on TV. Turn the TV off.
that's exactly the first thing. This is
Off. Yeah.
all one thing you have to do, just remove the object.
Yes, yes, right. And start focusing on what's great, what's good about this, right? What's
Yes,
really, God has a greater plan. So if I knew
Carrie,
what the greater plan was, what would it be? Let's start to have fun with that, right?
exactly. What is the best way to support your work? Where people can find you and what you
Yeah.
like to be contacted for?
Yeah. Well, if you go to carriekohan.com, it's CarrieKohan.com, carriekohan.com. If you go there, I have several pages. Now, I have a page of videos that I've put out for Mystery School Academy. So it's MSA. And there are 3 videos there specifically that are free, and they will change your life. The first one is on meditation. And you know, through NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, I had this aha moment where I realized, you know, people struggle with meditation because they don't understand it from their learning modality, right? So if you're visual, you are going to have a very different experience meditating than someone who is auditory, or someone who is kinesthetic, like an empath, a feeling nature person. Feeling nature people, when they close their eyes and they go into meditation, they well, they see you know, stripes or flashes of light. They'll see geometric shapes.
The hologram.
Right. Or they'll see maybe just like an eye will come in or a face will come in and it'll go. But often they don't see much. They feel the energy. They feel lighter. They feel good. But, you know, as far as visual, like they're searching to see. And instead, you know, I teach them to just relax and just be, and realize that your learning modality is all about the feeling nature. So feel your way through the meditation, totally different. So that's the first meditation there. The second one is Heart Wall to Smart Wall. It's another download that I received years ago. And so many of us have created a heart wall out of pain. It's melting that down and bringing a smart wall, that bubble of light around. And then the third one is on empaths and how to help empaths in their clarion
This
call.
is very important.
Yeah. So go to my website. You've got the free videos, and you can book sessions with me. So if you go to the one-to-one sessions, we have group sessions, individual sessions, sessions with myself and my daughter, who you met. She's very intuitive, psychic.
So wonderful.
Yeah.
Such a beautiful soul she is.
Yeah, she's
Beautiful.
yeah. So lots of things that you can do. And I'm bringing a podcast in. Woohoo.
Oh, and podcast and book is on Amazon, Carrie, right?
Yes. Oh, book is everywhere. Book is on Barnes & Noble, Amazon, Chapters, Indigo. It's available in 22 countries.
Okay.
And so, yeah, just,
Perfect.
research it and you'll find it. Okay.
Thank you so much, Carrie. God bless you there. It's beautiful, beautiful work you're doing. And I'm looking forward one day actually to visit that area.
Well, you better come to Portugal. I'm looking forward to it. In fact, Amelia, my daughter, spoke to you before we even started. She said, I hope you come to Portugal. So you already have a fan here. She really wants you to come, and as do I. Yeah.
I've been to Lisbon once, but it's not the same. I haven't really enjoyed Lisbon, to be honest.
Yeah, it's cooler up there, and it's a big city.
I saw some, you know what I saw, Carrie, before we end our chat? I truly believe that buildings can talk.
Oh, very much.
Buildings have energy, and they are like the sponge for the experiences that happen within those buildings.
Yes.
And I literally felt the trauma of those people that was stored in the buildings.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, many of the buildings are ancient, so they have so many stories to tell, and they've lived through dark ages. They've lived through some really horrific times, and if they haven't been cleared, that energy is stuck in there. So when you're traveling through, I'll invite you to wish each building well, and just like with a wave of your hand, you can just blow that negative energy and entities away. Off they go up into the light. You're free, and the building is free, because when you travel, especially as a light worker, I think that it's part of our energy, number one, to find the places where we've been before, because often when we travel, we'll be in places and we'll go, oh, I've lived here before. I know this place. There's a secret door behind that wall, right? This is what I've experienced. I was in Ireland with my husband.
Me too.
Yeah, there's a secret door there. And he was like, there's not a secret door there. And all of a sudden the door opens up, and he was like, there's a secret door there. Right? So, yeah. So, there's those kinds of things where it's an adventure. But I also think part of our duty as light workers, or opportunity perhaps, not even duty, is to help trapped energy be released. So in allowing that trapped energy to be released. Yeah. So Lisbon is beautiful to me. I like Porto very much, but I love the Algarve, and this is where we're at. Albufeira, we're down by the ocean. Stunning. And the energy is very free and open here because we have the wind, right? Your loving wind comes in and it cleanses us.
The wind of change. The wind of change.
Yes, very much.
Oh, Carrie, thank you so much. Thank you so much. All my love to
you as well.
To your family, to your place.
Yes.
And we stay in touch. I'm going to touch all below. And I hope to talk to you soon.
Okay. Me as well. Take care. Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.